just before I hit record, I looked down where I'm sitting here and I just found a toonie. Welcome to Victoria, Vancouver Island, Canada. I try to find a quiet space here in the city to talk to you, to contemplate Gene Key 31, the shadow of arrogance, the gift of leadership, and the city of humility. Richard Rudd speaks about, I think it's important to talk about it as well, that often, we hear the word arrogance or any of the shadow words and we think, oh, that's bad. I'm not that. Or I hope I'm not that way. And then we immediately judge it. And then maybe we even try to skip ahead to the city, the highest frequency. How can I get more of that? And what are my quick, easy fixes to get to humility, or to say that I have humility, or even the gift level, in this case, leadership, before, actually moving through the sequence. And he says, if we try to do that and skip ahead, all we're doing is escaping. And ultimately, we're going to be humbled, whether we like it or not. So something to keep in mind as we contemplate these gene keys is like, the shadows are not bad or wrong. It's the human journey, and it's a part of our evolution. And the more we can embrace them and move into them instead of trying to run away or not own our own stuff, the more likely we are to actually evolve and experience these higher frequencies as we move into the gift and perhaps the city. So arrogance, that word especially, is not one that I would like to admit. And that's the funny thing about arrogance, is it's a blind spot for us. It's like we have blinders on, or we're in denial. And it basically stems from insecurities. And if we're operating in the shadow frequency, we will ask the question, how can I be more secure? But that question actually leads us to sickness ultimately, because it's the wrong question. And it stems from the false idea that we are separate from one another, from the whole, when in reality we are all one and we are all connected. So we are inherently secure and safe when we have embodied that frequency. And as he expresses, we sort of need to fall. We sort of need to have a humbling experience in order to surrender and be in that state of letting go of our identity, of our desires, or like our just ego desires, or our agendas and our goals and what we want to achieve in our life from our head. And he speaks a lot about Dharma. I believe, he believes, many ancient systems believe in this concept of Dharma, that we have a life path. We have a storyline that's already laid out for us, and it's just about surrendering to that. Now we're jumping into the city, the highest frequency here, which it says is hardcore, and I agree is a hardcore idea, to completely let go of any identity and fully embrace this idea of being all connected and feeling truly safe in that. And my experience is as someone who has been humbled and been in the denial phase of my arrogance, that I can't imagine any other way. Like it's, and he does talk about our suffering is the punchline. He has a nice little poem in his audio that he had written. And so the arrogance, to get from the arrogance to the gift of leadership, is that you have been humbled, you have fallen, and yet you decide to rise up again and then share your lessons and your learnings. And the leadership that we have been accustomed to in the past is not the leadership that Richard Rudd speaks to at this gift level. I mean, a true leader will inspire other leaders It doesn't look for followers. A true leader has the whole in mind versus themselves. And, if someone is operating as a leader and hasn't had that humbling experience, they're usually serving themselves, or they're serving an agenda that doesn't consider the whole. And then at the highest level, the siddhi, the humility, is the full surrender to your dharma. The full surrender to be able to say, like, I don't know, I can't possibly foresee where my dharma will lead me in this life, but I'm trusting. I'm taking the risks, and I don't necessarily care what anybody else thinks. People may judge, but I know in my heart, in my core, that I am in integrity with the whole, the highest truth. And I'm just looking at my notes because I like this one thing he said here. The wind is blowing my pages way back. I can't find it. Something like, we can't change the storyline for our life. To think that we can, that's the arrogance. But what we do have control over, what we can change, is the script. And the script is all about how we respond to the events of our life. If we fall, can we be humble? Can we fall with grace? Can we understand that it's just a part of the human journey to experience these rises and these falls in our life? And I had this meditation just the other day, actually, where you breathe deeply in your belly and you allow your belly to be soft. I think that if we're in the shadow frequencies, we can have a lot of tightness in our bellies because we're trying to control outcomes. So if we can be soft in our belly and we can allow our breath to rise and fall softly, perhaps we can have more ease and flow and beauty through the rises and falls and the rhythms of our human journey. So something to think about. And I've been spending a lot of time breathing deeply and softly in my belly these last days. I'd love to hear from you. How have you experienced these themes? Are you in touch with maybe blind spots? Have they revealed themselves to you? And are you finding it challenging or easy to breathe deeply into that belly? I look forward to hearing from you, and seeing you in the next video.